what about over the last few years? I mean, we've been to a couple, and I've noticed the influx of the amount of festivals in
Oh
the
yeah,
UAE, right?
yeah.
Wireless. There's the Butterfly Carnival that's coming through in
Hip
November.
hop turns 50. They're gonna be associated with the Soul DXB
Really this
event as
year?
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Soul
So
DXB
that's
is
gonna
coming.
be.
And what were there as many festivals when you first got here, or they have just increased and
They've
exploded
just
over?
increased and exploded.
Okay, and that's
So
made. And how's that done for? What's that done for your experience here?
so the concert experience here, I don't know. We a bit grown. So when we go to concerts back home, it's a different
It's
different
it's
vibe.
just different. It's a different
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah. Here I say the concerts out here is like a younger vibe, and I mean younger like teen vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So I remember when we went to the Soul DXB event, and
No, Soul DXB I like.
no, Soul DXB was cool, but there was a lot. It was more on the
No, we
younger
didn't go to
side.
Soul DXB. Don't confuse that one.
No,
We
we
went
went
to
to the bread.
Bread.
Bread. Sorry,
Bread, yeah.
apologies. We went to bread. We went to bread.
Shout out to Soul.
Shout out to Solo.
Yeah.
And shout out to Bread too.
Hey,
Bread
shout
was
out to
good.
Bread, bro.
Shout
It's
out was a
good.
good. Shout
Yeah,
out,
everybody. Yeah.
Bread was a great event.
Mhm.
But I remember going there, and I remember it being young. I remember feeling like one of the older people in the crowd, and I'm only
Yeah.
32 years old, which is like the weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But I also know that people are still embracing Western culture. Because I remember in certain songs, you and me were like the only ones who knew the lyrics,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody else is kind of just like bopping along. So they obviously listen to the music, but it's still taking a little time to like fully integrate here. Even though you get acts like 2 Chainz is here all the time, 50 Cent I think has a residency at this place. Rick Ross definitely has a residency at Blue.
Akon.
Akon is here all the time, right? So they're definitely very welcoming of hip hop music, Afro beats, Amapiano, right?
Yeah.
Like EDC, rock music, whatever you're into, they have it here, right?
Yeah,
So you just need to find your own little corner, your own little spot. But in line with hip hop, let's talk about fashion. Right?
Okay.
Like fashion here, at least for us, I noticed didn't change, right? It's not like,
Yeah.
we're still on our streetwear
Yeah.
or smart casual or smart
Exactly.
chic, whatever you want to call it, right? But I think, and I'm not a woman, but just based upon what I've heard, in certain places I have to go a little bit more modest, right? Which is the difference between here and maybe
Yeah.
other places in the West, like especially in New York, where you can almost wear anything you want, right?
Yeah,
And it's not
at any
surprising.
time. Yeah, I would say here everything has a time and place. Because you go to a beach club here and it's like people are wearing next to nothing.
Yeah. You feel like you're in a nude, you feel like you're in a beach somewhere in France somewhere, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. And then if you go to the mall, it's like I have some women friends and they have a cover up or a buyer just in the tuck. Like, all right,
Yeah.
go on.
it becomes like what is it? It
Yeah,
comes like an
exactly.
umbrella, like
Yeah.
in London, or you could just
Yeah.
have an abaya in your bag, just pull it out, just cover your shoulders.
Yeah.
Or
And that's
whatever it
just showing respect to the culture, the
Yeah.
families, and things like that. So
Exactly.
that's all good. But it's not so much of a big deterrent. Like when we get asked, how can you live over there? How do the women dress and all that? And we definitely got to have a woman as a guest just to give that experience.
We need to bring that
and-
on. We need to bring on
Yeah.
the women's experience here in the UAE, because there wouldn't be people flocking here if it was such an oppressive culture. Right?
Exactly.
Especially
It
people
would-
from the West. If it's so oppressive, then why are people coming here? You need to stop
Exactly.
listening to that. I keep telling people traveling somewhere and living somewhere, two totally different
different
experiences.
things.
Two different things. When you travel somewhere, you're not gonna get the real on the ground feeling of it, especially if you're only there for a couple of days. Maybe if you're here for a few months, but that's not traveling at that point. You're being a
Exactly.
nomad. But if you're just traveling for a week, that's not enough to really get a sense of a place, right? You're looking at it from a tourist perspective. Even when I go back to London, now that I'm a tourist, they're not living there anymore. It's from a different perspective,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to, I'm not annoyed by the same things I got annoyed by when I lived there, right? Now that I'm a tourist, I'm like, whatever, because I'm leaving.